What nobody else will tell you about IPL hair removal from someone who has done this for years on half of my body, who's tried over 5 different types of these hair removal devices, who has done it professionally in clinic for others, and who is a medical esthetician and hopefully understands some of the science to bring you the real answers. I feel like there is so much confusion about IPL online, and every single time I open up someone else's review, there's great personal experience, but some people are calling it laser, which it's not. Or some people are talking about waxing their legs before they IPL, which you can't do if you want it to work. So I want to break down not just the things that are being shared across the internet, but what is not being shared and what you need to know about IPL if you actually want to remove hair at home using a device like this. Now, there are many, and again, I have tried the Kenzie, I've tried the You-Like, I've tried the Rose thing. There was one that looked like a shooter gun that literally burned my skin after one use and I couldn't touch it again. And there's the professional stuff. And at this point, about half of my body is relatively hairless. I've been using a green device and this one in my armpit. I used the Kenzie on my leg. I got one going on my toe. And I am about to try something for my happy trail and for my chin hairs. And if you want the updates, you know where that subscribe button is. But first, what nobody will tell you is that this is not at-home laser hair removal. I don't care what device or what brand it is. It's not laser. A lot of people call this laser hair removal, and that is not at all it. What's the difference between IPL and a laser? IPL stands for intense pulse light. It is light in different spectrums and different wavelengths in an intense pulse. Laser is much more ablative, and it's basically a single stream. Does one work better than the other? It depends on your skin. It depends on who you are and your pain tolerance. And of course, if you're doing this in clinic versus at home, but lasers are not really sold at home. There are some laser-like things that are FDA cleared, but that's not the same as a laser. And you need to be licensed in order to operate a laser or working with someone who's licensed because you're training for it. Can't just go lightsabering people everywhere, okay? IPL is safe and effective to use at home when done properly, which we're also gonna have to talk about. But again, that's very different than actual laser. I think a lot of people don't know this, and I think they just call it the same thing because it gives you very similar results. Laser hair removal, IPL removal. The treatment is very similar, where you wear glasses or goggles and you do this a multitude of times, 3, 6 over weeks or months, and you see results that basically stop the hair from growing back. Now, of course, this depends on your skin tone, and we've done different videos about which skin tones and colors and which hair colors work with IPL versus those that don't. Because for some skin tones, they can't use IPL because it won't pick up the contrast of the hair versus the skin. That's when laser hair removal does come in. So IPL works for, I would say, most people. This is an unofficial statistic, but maybe 90 to 95% who pick up an IPL device at home, as long as it's a quality one, will probably see results. But that is different than laser, technically speaking. And that is also why so many IPL devices come with a plug that goes directly into the wall. And people won't tell you this, but if someone's selling you an IPL device that you don't have to plug into a wall, or you don't have to have some form of electricity plugged into it, it's probably not strong enough to work. You see, the way that at least US regulation goes, if a device is powerful enough, it needs to have a physical plug into a wall. It can't just be, some laser beam. Different handheld IPL devices will have different amounts of energy put into them. This one specifically has 21 joules. I don't know what the Kenzie was. I was using one that had 19. But essentially, at least here in America, once you get past a certain point of power, you're not allowed to just have some, powerful device you can fly around and hurt people with. It needs to be plugged into a wall. And a lot of people won't tell you because they're trying to sell shit you don't need, because they're selling a crappy product that they drop shipped and are trying to run away from. But if you don't have to plug it in, probably not going to be powerful enough to work. And this is something else people won't tell you, is that in order for it to be powerful enough to work, it doesn't have to hurt, which means yes, you can, but also no, you can't use it on the face. Let's talk about that. So when it comes to IPL, intense pulse light, you can use it pretty much anywhere that hair grows theoretically. Problem is, certain IPL devices, especially the really low quality ones and the cheap ones, can burn the skin. There are many people online who have gotten burns and they've literally destroyed their skin at home. Now they have keloid scars, they have pigmentation, and let's talk about it, there's even people who went in clinic and the clinician who did the IPL left them with these burns. Who wants that? Nobody. It is a fact that IPL can burn. There is only one brand that I know. It's the one that I currently use, which is You-Like. This has a sapphire cooling technology, and it basically cools it down before it hits the skin. I've tried the Kenzie. That was not painful, but it did kind of leave the skin warm. There was the Rose one. That one burnt a little bit more. And then that hairdryer one, like I fucking couldn't even. It hurt so bad. But yes, you can use IPL on the face, on the armpit, on the groin, etc., as long as it doesn't burn you. And that's the big kicker. For some people, it's gonna burn. For some people, it's not. There's a YouTuber named Alana that uses the Kenzie. She uses it downstairs and she has no pain pain. There are other people who have used other brands and felt pain. This is the only one that I know that has cool touch technology, but I'm sure there are others. Please tell me which other ones have a cooling technology. This is the only brand that I know that makes the cooling technology. There is this purple one and the green one and a white one. That is it that I can handle on my chin and my armpits and elsewhere, but I'm sure there are others. So please let me know what they are. You can only use it if it's going to be safe and there is more of a likelihood that you're going to see a benefit versus you're going to hurt yourself at home. And a lot of people will not tell you that. And that's why it's so important to look into the device, into how many joules it has or how much energy it's using, looking into the specs and the manufacturing, and looking into other people's reviews. Because if these shits are burning people's faces off and you don't even have to plug them into the wall, are they just being drop shipped? Are they even fucking legal? Drop shipping is a whole thing that I just learned about recently, and oh my God, we need to talk about the literal scams that are happening, because I think I've been scammed. Not by this company, but potentially by others. We gotta about that because it is disgusting. It's like Shein, but worse. Okay? We'll talk about that later once I start to understand it a little bit more, because I've still got a lot of questions. An additional thing that people won't tell you is that you need glasses. Special glasses, not just sunglasses. Here's the thing. IPL is a flash of light. That can hurt your eyeballs. We don't want to cause damage to our eyes. When done in clinic, you are given special goggles. These literally protect the eyes. And when you buy quality brands online, you can buy the glasses on their own, or you can get the glasses that come with a kit. But you need to use the glasses if you're going to be anywhere near the IPL. Now, I've done it and looked the other direction. I have. I'm going to say it as it is. But especially if it's anywhere near my face, you use those goggles. And it's not the same as sunglasses. Remember, IPL is an intense pulse light, but it's multiple wavelengths. Sunglasses block from the sun, certain wavelengths of visible light, and sometimes UV depending on the sunglasses shades. That could be very different than the wavelengths in your IPL device. And again, different IPL devices might have different wavelengths. You have to test them. You need to use the goggles if you want to protect your eyes. And people don't tell you that, but you want to make sure that you don't have long-term vision problems or eye damage by removing hairs, okay? I feel like people don't talk about that because the last thing you want to hear is that you bought this device online and someone told you could use it on your face and it doesn't get plugged into the wall, and now you're like, oh my God, did I buy something that was drop shipped and it's like fake, but now I'm flashing it near my eyeballs and my eyeballs stick and I see colors and little random floaters. Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want optic nerve damage, okay? Use the glasses, close your eyes, look the other direction, and use the glasses. Better to be safe than sorry. And okay, rant over. I'm sorry, I got really heated there. Heated, get it? Heated, because sometimes you get burnt. Anyways, one thing that people also won't tell you is that yes, theoretically the hair should be gone forever because you are literally killing the hair at the papilla, which is where it gets its nutrients, but you're not always going to get every hair. There is almost always going to be one or two stragglers that you're going to want to tweeze out if you want it to be perfectly smooth. That is just the nature of it. Sometimes there's going to be one or two hairs that just stick around or that you just didn't get, and you could continue to try to target them and maybe that'll work over time. But even professionally in clinic, they literally send you home with a waiver that says 95% of the hairs are going to be gone, or 85% of the hairs are going to be gone after 6 weeks or 12 weeks, right? Same with the at-home stuff, but people won't tell you that it's never going to be 100% for every single person. There's usually going to be one or two stragglers that, again, you're going to want to triple treat with something, which is why I like having something at home because I can continue to target it, or you're just going to have to tweeze that mofo. That's what they won't tell you. When you're actually doing the IPL, you can't tweeze and you can't wax. There are people who I've even seen like vlogs online where they're going to get professional IPL or they're doing it at home and they're talking about waxing or tweezing the hair first, because when doing IPL, you need to shave the hair or remove the hair partially and then look for contrast in the skin so that the light gets into the skin, kills the hair at the source. Well, if you wax or tweeze the hair, you're taking the entire hair out. There is no contrast for the light to target and to burn off. So if you're waxing or tweezing before IPL, you're not going to get any benefit. It's not going to work for you. You need to shave while you are doing your IPL treatments. And that is usually told to people, but it doesn't always sink in. You need to shave when you're using IPL. Yes, eventually IPL's goal is to replace shaving that area completely. But during those treatments, you need to shave instead of wax or tweeze, because shaving cuts the hair, but still allows it to exist under the skin. And that's how the light targets that area. If you don't have that, it's not going to work. So waxing and tweezing ain't going to cut it. But this is something else people won't tell you. Paradoxical hypertrichosis. Now that sounds like a big word. It basically means for some people, the hair grows back thicker. I know, it sucks. It's paradoxical, right? It's not supposed to happen. But unfortunately, for a very small subset of people, when they go into clinic or when they do something at home, sometimes their hair grows back worse. This has even been documented in cool sculpting, where someone goes in to kind of dissolve all fat on the body, and they end up growing more adipose tissue. And it's paradoxical. It's not supposed to happen. But for some people, this does. It's also called terminal hair growth. And again, it's very unusual. For most people, this doesn't happen. But for a very, very, very small subset of people, they're special, just the way my mama used to tell me. And they will have hair that reacts negatively, or their skin reacts negatively and will actually create more hair growth in that area. And this paradoxical hypertrichosis can be broken down, again, paradoxical or unusual, hyper, extra, trichosis, hair growth, essentially. And this can usually happen from trauma. Some people have noticed it when they tweeze little chin hairs. Again, very unusual, but it can happen. And this is why, if you can, it's a good idea to patch test. Just the way you patch test skincare at home, or just the way a good esthetician or good dermatologist worth their weight in salt will give you a patch test of a chemical peel before they peel off your fucking face. Yes, you want to patch test IPL before you go full swing, just in case. Again, very unusual, but it does happen. And people don't talk about it, and it's something that we need to discuss because you need to know that it's a possibility. People also need to know whether or not the IPL will work for their skin color and tone. And again, we've spoken about that so many times before, but I feel like it's something that kind of goes under the radar, or that people don't realize. If you have super albino skin and white hair, there's no contrast. If you have black ebony skin and black hair, no contrast, it won't help. If you can see the hair on the skin, probably a good candidate. If you can't see the hair on the skin because they blend in and they're the same color, it's probably not gonna work. And this is the biggest WTF, of course, but it needs to be said because people don't say it. If you don't use it, it's not gonna work. This goes for at clinic or at home. If you don't go into a clinic, it's not gonna work. If you don't use it at home, if you buy it, but it just sits on your shelf, just the way the skincare and the sunscreen is, if you don't put it on your face, it's not gonna work. Or your body, in your armpits and these other places. And that can be hard because half of the battle is using it and remembering to use it and using it regularly. Depending on how powerful your device is, you may need to use it for less. That's why I'm hooked on this one currently, but there are others that you use for a couple of months. Or again, if you have a professional clinic, you need to go into that clinic. You need to show up for your appointments. And sometimes that's why people pay the big bucks for clinic, because hey, if they paid all that money, that's what they actually need in order to go. Maybe it's a rich people problem, I don't understand, but if people pay more money for something, they psychologically value it more and they will go into the clinic. Again, as someone who's done IPL on others and likes to do it on myself on half of my body, I like the option of doing it at home so I can get those pesky little straggler hairs and I can do it at my leisure and save myself some money. But for some people, they need to go in. But either way, at home or in clinic, you need to use it in order for it to work. I actually have the itchy little urge to rank the IPL that I have tried from best to worst, if you want to hear about that. But I feel like I've only used 4 or 5. I would like to use a couple more and see how they work maybe on myself or others. I'm kind of running out of places to IPL, even though I do have this side of my body, I guess. And while that is something that is intriguing to me, I'd like to know from your perspective, which IPL devices have you heard about going around and which ones should I try? Also, this whole drop shipping thing. This is one that I don't believe is drop shipped. I've seen where this is made. I like this. I use this. This is what I'm currently using. I have used the Kenzie before. The Rose Skin Company is one. Inna looks interesting, but please tell me which ones you've heard about so that I can try them. And I'm going to look into this drop shipping thing. This seems to be like an Andrew Tate, like get rich quick type of scheme that's happening, and people are taking advantage of people who want to be hairless. So I'm gonna look into all of this. I'm gonna ask the questions, try to get the answers, and I'm gonna report back with what I find. But for now, half of my body is hairless. I have 2 devices that I've used that I can say work. I'm probably gonna try a few more. So please leave your questions as well as your personal experiences and your device recommendations or danger stay away froms in the comments so that we can all learn from each other's experience. And I'm gonna figure out what the f I'm gonna spend my money on next for the name of science. Bad science, personal science, subjective science, some form of science that will hopefully be repeatable for others nonetheless. I hope this helped. I can't wait to see you in the comments, and remember to stay hydrated, reapply that SPF. Yes, no one will tell you that you need to use SPF with IPL because you always need to use SPF, okay? And always be beautiful both inside and out. I love you, and I cannot wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.